The April 2026 special meeting of the San Diego Community College District Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. This meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format with board members and meeting presenters participating in person. Others are participating remotely via Zoom. Trustee Marichu Magaña will not be participating in today's meeting. We also welcome any members of our district community and the members of the public who are viewing the meeting live via YouTube. San Diego College of Continuing Education has adopted a land acknowledgement statement to publicly recognize that the land we occupy is the unceded territory and ancestral homeland of the Kumeyaay people. College of Continuing Education student trustee Jair Melendez will now read the college's land acknowledgement.
Okay. Thank you, President. San Diego College of Continuing Education, across its 7 campuses, acknowledges that we are situated on the unceded ancestral land of the Kumeyaay people, indigenous to this region since time immemorial. We recognize the resilience of the Kumeyaay in overcoming generation trauma from colonization and trauma shared by many indigenous communities, as well as the African diaspora who uncompensated labor and suffering under chattel slavery. Jim Crow and systematic oppression have been foundational to development of the country. We honor the legacy and enduring strength of these communities, acknowledging our collective debt to their labor, sacrifice, and the knowledge and skill for struggle, taking through violence and white supremacy. This includes recognizing the significant contribution of China and Japanese immigrant workers from the Philippines, Mexico, and Central and South America, whose labor often extracted through exploitative and coercive means has been vital to our nation's cultural and economic growth. Our commitment is to foster transformative learning experience that support indigenous knowledge system and practice, and the critical address practice that perpetuate harm against indigenous, Black, brown, and other marginalized communities. This acknowledgement is a pledge to develop and sustain respectful relationship with the Kumeyaay and other indigenous community, and to the honor rectify the historical injustice this group face as we work together to honor and care for the land.
Thank you, Trustee Melendez. And now you will lead us, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Board President. Please stand. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. The primary purpose of this meeting is for the board to hear from our community members on an important topic. I understand the Chancellor is proposing the board to adopt alternative public comment procedures for this special meeting. Chancellor?
Thank you, Board President, and thank you everyone who is in attendance with us in person here tonight at the campus, those that have logged in remotely to join us, and thank you to the board for its flexibility in being able to schedule this meeting, a very important meeting and one that has some urgency to it. I also want to recognize Trustee Magaña, who had previously had a vacation scheduled, and we attempted to accommodate her being able to attend remotely, but due to Brown Act requirements, we were not able to do that. But I appreciate her willingness to be absent in order to allow this to happen timely. It's a very important moment and a very difficult one, a moment of grief for many, and a moment that we need to hear from the community. The foundation of our legitimacy as a community college is in our ability to represent the values of our community. The board has been elected to represent those interests, and in this matter has sole authority over the naming of campuses. And I know it's important to the board to hear from the community as it considers its options in this moment. I did want to share with the board, we held a special DGC meeting the Friday before spring break where I shared the intent of this meeting and the proposed commenting procedures to get input. And so what I bring forward comes also with the recommendation of District Governance Council. What I would recommend to the board to ensure that we get significant public comment is to have a 2-hour public commenting period tonight, 120 minutes. That we reduce the time per speaker to 2 minutes per speaker to maximize the number of people that are able to comment. I expect we'll have commenters in person and online. And so in recognition of those who have been able to come and be in person, I would propose we hear from 2 in-person commenters and then 1 person participating remotely and go back and forth until we've exhausted all of the commenters in either forum, and then we can go specifically in person or remotely until we have exhausted all public comment or 120-minute commenting time, after which the board will need to consider whether it's going to take any action at this meeting. We will need a board action to implement special rules, which to simplify could be any board member making a motion to adopt the commenting procedures as I described them.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Jamison. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Milgram. Any discussion on this item? Okay. Student trustee Melendez, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote on this motion? Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye by signifying your right hand?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item passes unanimously with trustee Magaña absent. So with our alternative comment procedures now approved, I want to reinforce that our goal tonight is to hear input from our community. We will be limiting comments to 2 minutes per speaker to increase the number of participants in this meeting. If you have not done so already, to address the board, please fill out a comment card available on the side of the room or from the board recording secretary. If anyone participating remotely would like to make a public comment, please email boardoffice@sdccd.edu for further direction. As this is a special meeting, only public comments on items listed on the board meeting agenda shall be heard. Comments on topics unrelated to the agenda item will not be allowed. The board recording secretary will announce the names of public speakers and will monitor time. At regular intervals, she will announce the next several speakers to allow them to line up and reduce the time between speakers. The speaker's time will be displayed on the screen in front of the secretary. Again, the board's intention is to allow the maximum number of people to share their comments with us. If you're participating via Zoom, the recording secretary will call your name and ask you to unmute. If you are unable to unmute yourself or have technical difficulties, the next speaker will be called. Once all speakers have been called, your name will be called again. With that, will the board recording secretary please call the first commenter?
Yes. So the first 4 commenters will be Carmen Carrasquillo, Selena Martinez, David Otto, and Enrique Velez Garcia.
Chancellor Smith, President Arroyo, and members of the board, I stand here not as one person, but as the voice for Gaia, gender advocacy, inclusion, and advancement at San Diego Miramar College. We, the members of Gaia, stand with Dolores Huerta, Debra Rojas, Ana Murguia, and the other courageous women who have spoken publicly about their abuse. The CDC reports that 81% of women have experienced some form of sexual assault or harassment in their lifetime. 81%. Women who are college students are 3 times more likely than in general to experience sexual violence. Justice demands that we hold accountable those who commit such egregious crimes, especially against the most vulnerable, marginalized members of our society. We move to replace Chavez's name with Dolores Huertas. Such a move is in alignment with our district's values. To invest in people, one of SDCCD's stated values is to empower us all. The name change empowers us through an action that says, we see you, we believe you, we support you. Women continue to fight for equity. As Huerta wrote, our silence ends here. We further move that the history of this name change be taught and be visible. Display on the campus the telling of this history. Educate everyone about the history of the name change and the values that we stand for. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Selena Martinez.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Selena Martinez. I will first be expressing a comment from student trustee Ariella from Miramar College. And I quote, "In regards to the presented resolution, my personal opinion is one that aligns with the presented resolves. The College of Continuing Education and its sister colleges should not uphold the legacy of an individual who goes against the very standards and ideals of the colleges within the STCCD. Changing the name of continuing education is not only appropriate, but necessary." Now, as for my own remarks on this resolution, my name is Selena Martinez, student trustee for San Diego City College. I greatly resonate with the goals of this resolution as it recognizes and honors the voices that have been trampled and violated by someone who was highly esteemed for his impact on the farm workers movement. The district should adopt this resolution to take into account of the trauma and abuse experiences of individuals like Dolores Huerta, Ana Murguia, Debra Rojas, and Esmeralda Lopez, and among the many other women worldwide impacted by sexual assault. Alongside abusing the vulnerable, Cesar Chavez has been shown in his earlier times to be extremely anti-immigrant and have nuanced views on undocumented workers and on overall immigration, which are ideas that should not be reflected by the district. In being a student trustee representing an institution that is predominantly Hispanic and aware of its cultural surroundings, I would highly suggest that the district choose a name that is in tune with Barrio Logan's history and in commemorating the rich immigrant and farm worker movement that has influenced many to be here in California. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Otto.
Honorable members of the San Diego Community College District. My name is David Otto. I'm a retired educator, and I've been a supporter of the farm workers cause since 1968. I am deeply saddened by the allegations that have been made against Cesar Chavez. I'm literally heartbroken, having been part of the movement for many, many years. However, I believe that it's important to recognize the contributions that Cesar made to the overall cause. I understand that the district is going to probably change the name of this campus. What I would recommend would be to find an appropriate name such as the Farm Worker Justice Center. I would also recommend that you teach your students, encourage them, number one, to be involved in the movement for farm worker justice, and number two, that you teach them about the current conditions that farm workers and their children currently face in San Diego County and across the nation. These are the people who provide the food that goes to our tables, provide many of the fruits and vegetables. that we enjoy. So I have some written testimony I'd like to submit for each member of the Community College District Board of Trustees, as well as I recommend that you look up the website of the National Farm Workers Ministry to find further information about the current farm workers' cause. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Enrique Velez Garcia.
Buenas tardes. I'm going to be translating for him. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Nomás para este comentario que tengo, porque no hay investigación. I'm just making this comment just to highlight that there has been no investigation. Es muy pronto para que quiten el nombre de todas las partes. I believe it is too quick to remove the names or change the names of the parties involved. Creo que no es justo que luego que puso un comentario la persona, no estoy contra el problema, pero sí estoy en contra porque no hay investigación alrededor. Es muy pronto. All I wanted to say is that there has been no investigation. While I do not go against the allegations or support any of the allegations, I condemn them, but I think it's too soon without an investigation for the name to be changed. Ya sé que fue una persona que no estaba, era como racista o una persona que estaba contra todo, pero ayudó a las personas que estaban trabajando in a farm. So he was a person that helped everybody, specifically the farm workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next four speakers are Olivia Flores, Rafael Perez, Radley Fowler Sr., and Esther Rivera.
Hello, and thank you for hosting this space for open dialogue. My name is Olivia Flores. I am a professor and counselor at Miramar College. For many years prior to Miramar, I was here, a professor and counselor at Cesar Chavez campus. In this building, I would welcome students from the community to come take classes. English as a second language is the department, but really it was English language acquisition. I would work with students who were just curious to know what this campus was all about. I am here as a community member since I no longer work at this campus. I stand here today as a daughter, niece, and granddaughter of California Central Valley farm workers. The movement was not something that I learned from a textbook. It was something that my family talked about. Dolores Puerta often came to my tia's house for dinner in the 80s, and I got to know her as a young teen. I stand here in support to change the name of this campus to reflect the legacy of the labor movement, Chicano, Latino, Filipino workers, and the farm workers of today. I hope that Dr. King, Chancellor Smith, and this board go back to the foundation as to why this building was named Cesar Chavez and use those same principles to rename this campus. This building is a beacon in the community, a college for community members to start their journey of higher education or even to continue their education. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Rafael Perez.
Hello, my name is Rafael Perez, and I am an instructor in the district at Mesa College, but I'm here as a community member. I live in nearby Sherman Heights. And after this news, it was heavy amongst a lot of people who grew up in barrios across California, seeing such a strong symbol that we had looked up to, come to light with a lot of new information. So I was at my daughter's school at a PTA meeting, and the conversation came up of the heaviness of this moment. And what part of that conversation was that the movement is more than a person. It was about the movement, and that movement should not be lost because it's so important to so many people. But also to honor victims like Dolores Huerta. And something came out of that meeting, I believe it was the principal who may have shared it, said, well, rather than name things or rename things after a person, they should be renamed after the movement. And Dolores Huerta herself, I've heard her say that she's the one that came up with the phrase, "Si se puede." And I thought that that would be such a great name for a building like this, to see that up on the street, "Si se puede," that's such an aspirational quote, something so inspiring that still honors Dolores Huerta, but more importantly honors the movement, because the movement was something greater than a person. So I heard that and thought that when this moment comes, I'd come and share it, not as an idea that I had, but giving credit to the parents at that PTA meeting who were having a conversation and thought that this moment really was a time for reflection, an opportunity to come up with something that would be inspiring to students to come, and just for the community at large that would be driving by here on any given day. So I'm just here to share the idea of renaming the campus Si se puede. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Rodney Fowler, Sr.
Thank you to the board for this opportunity. As a lifelong San Diego resident, retired, just turned 65 years old this Saturday, I came up here to speak because you're looking at a man that has been nurtured by women. Women is what make the world go around. I have a wife, a loving wife. We just passed our 43rd wedding anniversary. I have a daughter, 2 sons, and been gifted with the benefit of having 3 grandsons and 3 granddaughters, 4 grandsons and 3 granddaughters. So certainly we're in a situation today with these allegations that came out. It's difficult to sort that out because Cesar Chavez has been gone since 1993. And as a man who has had to deal with situations where when my daughter was in college, there was several incidents that we had to help our daughter go through. And as a man, sometimes you feel powerless to sort out those things because of the distance. But I would just like to, I'm not here today to talk about the allegations. The women that made the allegations, they have a right, they actually happen to be older than me at this point. So I would just hope that the board takes into consideration about the fact that anyone out here that has sons, that make sure that we think about that also, because we have men sitting in prison today that have had false allegations against them, and they're sitting in prison today. And sometimes when people die and stuff, it's hard to sort those things out, but I would just hope that we take our time to look at that. If renaming is what the board decides and that's something that's proper, then by all means do that. But I just hate to see that maybe in the future that we don't put any names on buildings, that we name them after a cause or something else. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Esther Rivera.
Buenas tardes. Necesito apoyo de... Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Estoy muy orgullosa de haber venido a estudiar a esta escuela. Me ha dado muchas herramientas y actualmente estudio en el college en el Southwestern College. Para mí es muy importante estar aquí y defender la causa latina. Oh, sorry. Okay.
¿Puedes repetir otra vez un poquito?
Sí. Mi nombre es Esther Rivera. Estoy orgullosa de haber estudiado en esta escuela.
My name is Esther Rivera, and I'm proud that I attended this school.
Es muy importante para mí haber estado en esta escuela que lleva el nombre de ese luchador social que ahora está siendo juzgado sin antes haber tenido un juicio.
And I'm proud to attend the school that bear the name of Cesar Chavez, who was a key figure and who has been judged without having a trial.
Hay muchas acusaciones de muchos políticos en este país, en nuestro país,
There are many accusations against our politicians in this country,
y aún no han sido declarados culpables.
and they still haven't been found guilty or judged.
Sin embargo, no es el punto. El punto es que no debemos permitir que este tipo de condiciones nos separen como comunidad hispana.
So the point here is not that, is that we shouldn't allow these situations to divide us as a Hispanic community.
Por un lado, defendemos a Dolores, con toda razón. Y por otro lado, acusamos a un gran luchador social.
On one side, we support Dolores Huerta, and the other side, we judge a great fighter.
¿Por qué tenemos que estar en contra y pelearnos entre nosotros cuando lo que necesitamos es unidad?
Why are we fighting amongst each other when we need is unity at this point?
Las condiciones en estos momentos van muy en contra de la gente que tenemos un color especial.
The situations in the current situation in our country, it already goes against the people that wear this color of the skin.
Si no aprendemos a cuidarnos, a protegernos entre nosotros, habremos fracasado.
If we don't learn to take care of each other and look out for each other, well, we have failed.
Y con ello también habrán fracasado los Kumeyaay, que son los ancestros de esta tierra.
And if with that, our ancestors would also fail.
Considero que, como decía un compañero que pasó anteriormente, que es muy pronto para poner ya culpables y hacer cambios tan radicales como para olvidar un nombre.
I echo the comments of the previous speaker who said that it's too soon to make a radical change of a name or somebody and judge right away.
Yo creo que la causa es lo más importante. La causa por la que lucharon las dos personas que ahora tienen una controversia es lo importante. Sin embargo, si desaparecemos el nombre, desaparecemos parte de la historia.
I believe that the cause is the most important thing, and if we get rid of the name, we get rid of the cause.
Porque en el nombre también se lleva la lucha.
Because in the name, the fight is also in the name.
Son símbolos de identificación para nosotros los latinos, por lo menos para mí lo es.
There are identification symbols for us Hispanics.
No sé, quisiera poner a su consideración que se tome más tiempo, que se haga un juicio, porque por lo menos en México nadie es culpable hasta que no se demuestre lo contrario.
I would offer to the board to take some time and consider it, because like in my native Mexico, people get a fair trial or a fair process before any changes are due.
Y pues no sé si esto solamente es resultado de una investigación. ¿De quién? ¿Por parte de quién?
I don't know whose this is a result of, or whose investigation is this that made this decision. Or
Viva César Chávez. Gracias.
Thank you. Our next speakers are Masha Melnick and Liz Flynn.
Okay. There we go. My name is Masha Melnick. I work at North City Campus, and I just wanted to say I support changing the name. I personally think that it makes more sense to choose a name that is either something that's relevant to this local area or for the actual justice issues that Chavez was fighting for. And not rename it to a different person, because when we focus on an individual as opposed to what they were fighting for, as we can see, sometimes it doesn't work out so well because we never really know, everything about a particular person. So that's just my recommendation, either something that's relevant to this area or something that's about the actual justice issues that we're fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is online, and so I am going to allow her to talk. You should be able to unmute yourself and address the board.
Thank you. My name is Liz Flynn. I'm an instructor of English as a second language, and I worked at the old campus in Barrio Logan for many years. I really support the idea of a name change, but also honoring the community that is there in Barrio Logan, to potentially renaming to Barrio Logan campus or something that recognizes the students and the community who are there. That might be consistent with some of our other location names that are named after an area of town that they're in. And yeah, I also appreciate the suggestion of si se puede, although I think it's challenging to name a campus this because it's a phrase rather than a name of some kind. But I think that might be an excellent tagline to add to the building or to the maybe a sign or some other things. I think that's excellent. But I really support changing the name. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes everyone that has requested public comment at this time.
Thank you. Chancellor?
So the decision in front of the board tonight really has three courses of action. One would be to take no action and do nothing with the name at this time. The second would be to adopt a permanent name change for the campus. The third would be to adopt a temporary name change and then direct staff on a process by which a permanent name change would be brought forward to the board at a later date. We've gone back and done a bit of review of the history. The name of this campus was changed following Cesar Chavez's death in 1993. It previously was known as the Harbor View campus. If the board's interest is a temporary name change, I would recommend reverting to the prior name and then allowing Dr. King to facilitate a process by which significant community engagement could inform recommendations. As we've heard tonight in the public comments, there are several different perspectives to consider if there's going to be a permanent name change to the campus, and that process would allow for that to happen. If the board's will is to go that way, I would recommend that we have direction from the board to complete that process by the end of the fall semester. This needs to be done with the appropriate level of engagement, but with a sense of urgency as well. Additionally, the City of San Diego, under the direction of Mayor Gloria, is reconsidering the name of Cesar Chavez Parkway, on which this campus is located. And I, under the delegated authority I have from the board, did sign a petition. And I want to clarify that that was in order to allow this type of conversation to happen with the city council, that before the matter could be brought to the council for debate, for public comment, they needed to gain enough signatures on the petition from the individuals and organizations that have property along the street to be able to do that. And so we've also brought for the board's ratification and for public transparency on that process, ratification of my signature on that petition. I would recommend that the board engage in some discussion prior to entertaining a motion and then a vote if that is the direction the board ultimately goes in. And then I can discuss with you what the content of that motion might be before we formally have a vote.
So we're allowed to have a discussion before we, Trustee Jameson?
Discussion here or closed session?
Here.
Oh,
All
okay.
open, no closed sessions.
Okay. Oh, am I starting? Okay.
You could.
Okay, all right, well, thank you to those who came and provided public comment, as well as those who are online with us. I do want to honor and uplift, those who are victims in this situation. Those who have came, I don't want to call them victims, but those who have came forward to share their pains and their traumas that they have experienced at the hands of someone who we all considered a hero, I must say. But I think this is a time for us to all recognize that we can't uplift. We can't idolize, those in the movements. Everyone's human. Everyone is going to make some sort of type of mistake in their life, and we have to realize that, we just we can't glorify everyone in that sort of manner. So I think I want to hear more from our campus leaders as far as like their opinion on what they would like. So that's why I was asking if we were going to have a public or private closed session, excuse me. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this right now. But if anyone else wants to chime in.
Is that possible to hear from?
All of our executive leaders are welcome to make public comment as any other member of the public is.
Oh, I mean, if you not to put you on the spot. But I just wanted to kind of, because we have to form some sort of opinion eventually, and I do want to hear from you all, even if it's not tonight, just about this. I think it would definitely help. Maria.
Thank you.
You don't have to fill out, sorry.
Oh, I know.
No.
Thank you to the board for the opportunity, and thank you, Trustee Jameson, for inviting us to be able to share. I just wanted to be able to reflect some of the sentiments that I've heard in spaces that I've been in within the college since we
Excuse me,
learned of this news.
Could you provide your position?
Sorry.
Yeah,
My
just-
Shakira Carter, Vice President of Student Services here at the college.
Thank you.
And so some of the patterns of comments that I've heard reflected in different spaces, including our DEIA committee, our Safety, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee, some of our Student Services Committee, has been much of what we've heard shared here today around the sentiment that, you know, people are human and that, you know, there's something to be learned in this, that we do want to uplift and stand with Dolores Huerta, and what she said, that there was a lot of courage around that, and also that she was not the only one who came out and shared their experience and their stories, and we want to remember those other women that shared their stories as well, and that perhaps we should be identifying the principles and the values that we want to uplift, and that we should be uplifting the movements that have come forth, and that, you know, while people sacrifice a great deal to be leaders of these movements and to be leaders of justice and liberation, and we want to remember that this is something, you know, perhaps a historical lesson that we should learn from, right? And that as we look forward, we should be thinking about, and I've heard this maybe about more than a dozen different people reflect this. So these are my thoughts and my feelings, but they're also reflective of what I've learned from other people within the college community, that if we're thinking about the renaming of this campus, that we should perhaps be considering not renaming after a person, but after a movement, after values, after community, the community in which the campus is situated in, so that we can learn from the history, right? And recognize that we are all human, right? And while we do our best to uplift justice and movements, and we sacrifice that, we never know, you know, that the sins a person have made, and we should be learning from that. So that is my thoughts and my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know Maria.
Thank you, Trustee Jameson. Maria, Trustee
Well,
Senior?
one of the things I thought we were gonna address is the renaming, and that, does the mayor have a suggested name, or what?
What I've heard for the street, the recommendation from the mayor's office is likely to be Chicano Parkway. That's the new name of the street.
Chicano Parkway, I like that.
I do too.
Well, I mean, I'm really open to hearing what people think. I'm reluctant to name it after an individual also, because more stuff is gonna keep coming out, and we don't know. I mean, if we named it Barrio Logan College, is Logan okay? I don't know who Logan is. So, you know, is a scandal gonna come out about that individual? Or, I mean, you know, so I'm not sure. I just know that I personally am really sad. I met him on a couple of occasions, and I've also met Dolores on a couple of occasions. And to me, he radiated warmth and kindness. That was what I saw in his face. I thought he had the face of a saint. I've never had that reaction to another person. I've met a lot of important people, but I've never had that reaction. Just, there was such a gentle, warm look to him. You never know what people are really like and what they're capable of. And so I think that we would be wise to name it after the cause, because this is an important cause, especially now. The way ICE has gone after farm workers is horrendous. It's horrendous. I hate what's happening right now in our country to our poorest people, to our people of color. And I think that whatever name we choose, it should reflect the values of supporting labor and especially supporting farm workers.
Thank you, Maria.
I can just very
go ahead.
briefly, so in the aftermath of this, Trustee Senior, I did look up the history of the Barrio Logan name. And Logan is Congressman John A. Logan from the 1800s, whose career in politics began as an anti-abolitionist and later was recognized for his work in railroad bill and railroad expansion that didn't materialize here, but yes, problematic to say the least.
We're not going to name it Barrio Logan College.
We can just name it after a location.
Right.
Thank you. Trustee Milburn?
The consensus here is clearly to change the name, but I don't think I'm prepared at this point to endorse any particular name change. So I think the people who are most impacted by this should create a process. I trust the leadership at CE to make that process inclusive. And my personal opinion is irrelevant at this point. I certainly don't have the background to put in my particular opinion. So I want to hear what the people at the campus are going to say. So I'm in favor of that sort of temporary change so that we can actually take some action and then provide direction for people at the campuses, at the CE campus, and Cesar Chavez in particular, to make a decision.
Yeah, I do hope we can hear from more students and people from the community. So I'm looking forward to getting that feedback as well.
Thank you. You took my words, exactly. I mean, what I was gonna say, but.
I didn't mean to speak.
But I also go back, I think that our first speaker that reminded us to think about why this campus was named Cesar Chavez in the first place, how we arrived, I don't know the answer, to that. But I would think that it was probably the community, coming together, thinking, I mean, as a Mexicana, I think that Cesar Chavez was like a representative, right? Someone that we identify with. And so it's been very, very sad, muy triste lo que está pasando. I've reflected a lot on how the community has been quick to make a decision about getting rid of the name. And I don't think that I have like a clear answer of what's happening in our culture. We think of obedience, respeto, and those are the words that come to mind of why we're acting so fast in getting rid of his name, from many streets and buildings and all that. But I do want to be clear that doing that will not remove us, from who we are, who we represent in this country. There were people that talked about a division, and being careful about that. And so I want us to be sure that, it will be the comunidad, who will make the decision of the new name. And there were also speakers that talked about an opportunity to teach the younger generations about the movement, right? And the current situation of farm workers, and probably, I mean, it is not Cesar Chavez, but I'm sure that there are men out there, that are doing the same awful things, to members of that community. I mean, we know, somebody said 81%, 81% suffers, women suffer from sexual violence. So I see this as an opportunity for teaching the younger generation, to make sure. I mean, I know that I've talked to people from the Cesar Chavez Service Club, and they share with me that, the Cesar Chavez clubs have, which they're not going to be named. I know that they're changing the name too, but they work with students in elementary schools and in middle schools and in high schools. And I know for a fact that students are very upset, and I'm hopeful for those younger estudiantes that are really, are waking up and are making us really think about the situation. So with that, I think we have a, Trustee Melendez, would you like to add anything? No?
That's fine. Thanks so much.
Okay. I think you heard us.
So what I would
Loud and clear.
recommend to the board is that we have a motion to ratify the petition to rename Cesar Chavez Parkway, to adopt a resolution to temporarily revert the name of this campus to the College of Continuing Education Harbor View campus, to direct a expedited process for Dr. King and I to collaborate on a process through which we'll get broad community input, students, faculty, classified professionals, administrators, members of our community, stakeholders across this community, to bring forward a recommendation to the board by the end of the fall 2026 semester for a permanent name change, and also direction for us to begin to assess the visual design elements within the campus that continue to display and commemorate Cesar Chavez, and bring forward recommendations on how we will address that. And to simplify, somebody could make a motion as I stated, and then the board could choose whether or not to take
Thank you.
action.
And so may I have a motion and a second on what Chancellor described to us?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Senior, second by Trustee Milgram. Any more discussion on this item? I just want to say thank you and gracias for showing up on this very important meeting. Before we vote, student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time. I vote aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor of this motion please vote aye? Aye. Okay, the item passes unanimously with Trustee Magaña absent. Now, seeing no further business on this agenda, and if there are no objections, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.